Hello, this is Dave Price from HS Direct. I'm just going to show you how you can create your risk assessments and method statements easy, professionally for site-specific jobs. When we know what you do, we'll put all your risk assessments in. So when you log into Pike, you'll see 8 coloured boxes. But essence of time, I'm only going to talk about Safety First Pike, enter application. You'll see all your index on your left-hand side, what's in your Safety First Pike. I'm going to click on Risk Assessments and all your templates will come up. Top right, there's a search box. So if I want to search something specific like joinery, or roofing, or plumbing, plastering, I'll write in that description box and click search below and all my templates will come up. And then I'll click on, at right hand side, the blue plus box for the one that I need. For instance, this one, we're going to do a full plaster. So I'll click on my blue plus box at right hand side. When any template opens up, all you'll see is the description, plastering full plaster. And you'll fill out these boxes: project, start date, expected job duration, client contact person that you're dealing with, who's main contractor, site address, and any specific notes in this bottom box, like you might have to sign in and sign out daily. You might have to report for a site induction. You can put your hours of work in there. And when you've done that, click next stage and you'll see now persons affected. You'll see a drop down box. It won't have all these other companies in, it'll just have your name in here with various other things like tenants, other contractors, members of public, etc. So when you find your company name, for example, we're going to go for HS Construction Limited Contractors. I'll click on it, it'll go blue or grey, click select and it moves it to the bottom. There might be other contractors that's affected on this job. So I'll look for other contractors, highlight it to the bottom. There could even be tenants, depending if it's domestic or a commercial job. You can even add, by typing in that middle box there, you can create a new group. So you'll type your group in there, click on create new group and it'll add it into that drop down box. You can even add individuals by name. So if I put my name in there, it's already there, and then I can click add individual and it adds it to the bottom. So I might be person in charge, so I'm on that job. I click next stage, we will put all your hazards in for that job, right? And they've all got a remove box. So if you know for a fact that you're not using aluminium tower scaffold, you can remove it. So I'll remove that, it's gone. But when you look at your hazards that we've put in, you might need an aluminium tower scaffold or something else. So there's a select box, bottom right, you click on that. Top left, you'll see choose group. I click on that and you can go to what you need, all your categories. So this one, access, I need aluminium tower scaffold. So I'll tick that. And also, I'll click select at right hand side and you'll see now it's added it to my hazard list. Then I'll click next stage and all the original hazards that were in have got your green safety measures underneath, your control procedures. And every hazard at right hand side got a box called controls. So I can click on that controls box and see all my controls that's in. I can add more. I can change the ones that's already in. And if I click on create new controls bottom left, I can even add my own in. So all I'm going to do here is put Dave Price, new controls. I click confirm and post. Continue. And you'll see now at bottom, it's put my new control feature in. And I can tick it, click select, and it'll add it onto that list. Can you see there? It's added it. And I can remove some of the ones that's in that I don't need. When you add a new hazard, we've added a new hazard called aluminium tower scaffold. When you put a new hazard in, you'll see there's no control procedures. So I'll click onto that controls box and I'll add the ones that I need. Right, I'm only going to tick top 4 just as an example to show you. I can also write new controls in like I did before and click select, and you'll see now it's added them at bottom. So that's how easy it is to put an hazard in, your control procedures, or write new control procedures. And then click next stage. Your original hazards that were in, under probability and severity, your risk ranking, are all done. But when you add a new hazard like aluminium tower scaffold, any new hazard you put in by default will go to 5 and 5. So any working at height will be a 1 and a 5. If you're not sure at this point, you pick a phone up and talk to us what your new risk ranking will be. But remember, when you put a new hazard in, by default it goes to 5 and 5. That'll need to change. Next stage, you'll add your PPE. You just tick your PPE, tick what you need for this particular job. You can even create new PPE if it's not on that list. Give it a description and give it an image and click save, and it'll add it. And then you'll click next stage, and you can have this system remind you, review about certain things. Click on that drop down box. Right, if you want it to a review or anything, you've got next year's date in there. If you don't want any reminders or anything, you'll click that and it jumps to 31st of the 12th, 2037. Don't ask me why, but at New Year's Eve I'll remind you it needs reviewing. Next stage, confirm and post, view or print risk assessment, and have a look at your risk assessment. Check it over, scroll down, make sure you've got everything in there. You've got your hazards, you've got control procedures. The last thing you want on right hand side is anything in red, as you'll see there. If anything on that right hand side is red, you've not got your risk ranking right on a new hazard that you've probably put in. Scroll down, you've got your PPE, you've got a sign off sheet for lads. I close that down, and underneath where I viewed my risk assessment, it says create method statement for this job. If I click on that, and everything transfers across now to my method statement. Contact 1, 2 and 3, if you've put it in at beginning when we set it up, you will not have to put your name and mobile number in there, but you can put somebody else's in case of emergency. Next stage, you'll see a thin line with things above it that's ticked. Now there's a paragraph behind every one of these subjects that's going to read on your method statement unless you untick it. If I click on, for example, material handling, let's have a look what it says. There's a paragraph about material handling. That's fine, but I might want to edit it. If I edit it and click save a copy underneath, it'll keep the original and make a copy. And make sure at top where it says material handling, you put something after that so you know which one you've edited and which is original. If you don't want to keep the original one, you just want to keep the one that's edited, you'll click on save a copy and hide the template. I close that down. Underneath that thin line, there's things that's not ticked. Depending on what you're doing is what you can add. For example, we've added an hazard, aluminium tower scaffold. So I click on letters, open it up, and it tells me all about aluminium tower scaffold. Same thing, save a copy, hide template if I need to change anything. Close that down, we'll tick it. And again, any one of these here I can look through and click on them, edit them, etc. I can even click on create new statement. I can give it a title, and I can write my own paragraph in and save it, and it'll save it underneath that thin line. If I want it to be on my documents all the time, if I click make this a default statement, put a tick in there, and it'll save it above that line, so it'll be on your method statements all the time unless you untick it. I close that down, I click next stage, and then I come to task selection. In your tasks, you can scroll down at right hand side and you can see what's in there. And you'll see in selected tasks there's nothing. What we put in that bottom box is going to read on your method statement. Now we know we're doing a plastering job, so in that search box above I type in plaster and you'll see full plaster comes up. That's what we want. I click on it, it goes blue or it might go grey. I click edit 1 to 10 just above it. It opens it up and you've got bullet points how you're going to do the job. There's 19 bullet points in there. You might do it slightly different, and again you've got that save a copy, Make sure you put some at the top if you want to keep the original and make a copy and edit it. If you don't want to keep the original, if you just want to keep the one you've edited, you click Save a Copy and hide the template. Close that down. Next to Edit 1 to 10, it says Add to Document and move it to bottom. Clear that search box, and there might be something else that you might want to add to the bottom. You'll notice bottom right it says Create New Task as well. If I click on that, I can give it a title. I click on that little 1, 2, and I can put my own bullet points in how I'm going to do a job. Click Save, and it'll save it in Your Tasks. I click Finish Method Statement, bottom right. I click View or Print Method Statement, and that's your method statement done. Scroll down, just check everything. Everything's in there, and then I go down to the method of work. Yeah, it's there, my full plaster, a sign-off sheet for lads. Close that down. I go back into my risk assessments on left hand side, and at top is the one I've just done, and it tells me there's a method statement with it because I did my risk assessment, confirmed and posted it, and then underneath where I can view my risk assessment it says create method statement for this job. I've done that, so it tells me now there's a method statement with that job. I can sign it electronically, I can edit it, I can make a copy of it for another job and change dates and addresses, or anything else that might need changing, any hazards and control procedures. I can print it off, I can even email it straight from system. If it needs signing by a contractor or an employee, if I tick that box and email it to a contractor or an employee, they'll get a link and a 4-digit PIN, and they can open it up and sign it no matter where they are, and it'll bounce back into the system on that PDF signed and dated. And if you go to method statements on your left hand side, every time you create a method statement it'll store them in the system, and there it is, the one at top for a full plaster, and it tells me there's a risk assessment with it. I can sign that method statement, edit it, copy it, print it off, email them both together, or I can bin it. That's how you can create your risk assessments and method statements, or just edit them and tweak them for anything that needs doing on the side. Dave Price, HS Direct. Hope you've enjoyed this short video. I'm sure it'll help you. You know where I am if you need me. Cheers, bye.